good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. Welcome to Mango Seed Faith. Right now we're going to just jump right into our miracle part 3. I don't feel as if the devil wants me to do this video because I recorded this already and now I cannot find it. I can find part 1 and part 2, but part 3 has just disappeared from my recordings. But we won't let the enemy win. And we're going to just do the video over and it's just fine. So I ended off part 2 talking about baby boy being born and what joy it was to have him, come into this world. If you have not seen our miracle part 1 or part 2, make sure to see those videos before jumping on to see part 3. Also, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so that you'll be able to get notification whenever I have new content posted. So coming out of the operating room and now into the recovery room, everything was fine. Baby's just sitting right on or laying right on my chest. It was just so overwhelming and just a joy that our baby is here, and everything was good. And then we got into the room for me, and before all of that, they give you clear liquids. You're not allowed to eat anything, of course, during that time. So by the morning, because let's see, he was born after 2 p.m. So by the next day I was able to have solid food. During the time where I should be feeling good and excited and everything, I got sick. I was throwing up. My stomach was just really upset. I couldn't understand what was happening to me. I wasn't able to really enjoy my baby like I wanted to. And I just was really sick. I threw up all night, all morning. And I just was really out of it. And even with the medications that were given to help with the pain from the C-section, I was feeling sick with that as well. I never dealt with swollen. My feet have not been swollen since my pregnancy, but after the C-section, my left leg was swollen. I'll post pictures. And I asked the nurse, I said, is this normal? She said, it's going to get even bigger. So I was like, okay. Everything was, I started to just really get tired. I just wanted to come home after a while. I just wanted to go home because sometimes just being in the hospital makes you more sick. That's how I felt. Baby was doing great. Everything was great for baby, but Stacy was just mash right up. I just was not doing good. I wasn't feeling good at all. I would be crying. I'm in so much pain, and I just felt like I was just going crazy. I was supposed to leave the hospital on the Saturday, and I asked my doctor if I can leave on the Friday, and they were fine with it. I came home. I'm trying to remember everything. I came home, and it just felt really good to be home and to bring my baby home. It wasn't a situation, of course, of, you're leaving the hospital empty-handed. I'm leaving the hospital with my baby. Things just really it turned for the worse, because not only my leg is swollen, not only am I having so much pain, it got to the point where I just stopped taking the medication and I just toughed through the pain. And then I don't even know why I did it. I just took my blood pressure. I've never seen numbers like that before. I've seen it with patients where I'm checking their pressure, but I've never seen numbers like those before for myself. Numbers like 100, 160 over 100. And stuff around 120 over 80, you know, or even way before, my pressure used to be 110/60. That might be low for someone, but at the end of the day, what's normal for you? And my pressure is normally like, say, 127/84, and now I'm looking at 160/80. I dealt with my temperature of 100.5, and it got to a point where I was just so frustrated that I just started to cry and just break down. And my mom, she realized that I wasn't crying because I was in pain, because I shed so much tears because of pain, but she realized, no, this is something else, and she began to encourage me and tell me that everything's going to be all right. Just take one day at a time. Because I think I was just really just being hard on myself. You just get tired of being sick. And I just wanted to be well so that I could just hold my baby and just really just embrace motherhood. And I wasn't really able to hold him like as much as I may want to, because I was not well, just still throwing up and stuff like that. The throwing up stopped when I was in a hospital and everything, but coming home, I still was throwing up. When I realized the pressure, I called one of my friends who's in the medical field, and she's like, you need to go to the hospital, because those, you can end up with a stroke, you can end up with this, you can end up with that. And I'm like, oh God, I don't want to hear this stuff. I don't want to hear this. This is too much. This is too much. I just had my baby. I don't want to leave to go back in the hospital, and then I'm not able to be with him. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I need to do something to just get this pressure down, and everything. And then with the leg just really swelling as well, I'm like, Lord, I don't understand what's going on. I said, but I know that you're in the midst of everything. And I say, God, I just really need you to help me through this, so that I can be able to just be well and just heal and just enjoy motherhood. I remember at one point I was just so breaking down that I just wanted to hold him, and I just held him. Excuse me. I just held him, and I just put him close to me, and I just, just begin to just embrace that, and begin to just encourage myself, and just to relax, just remembering the word that God gave me, that everything was going to be all right. And I just held on to that word from the beginning of my pregnancy all the way throughout. Even now, I still hold on to that. Everything's going to be all right. And I just held on to him, to my baby. And I began to just take it in. And I just got myself together, just knowing that everything was going to be all right. Eventually, the pressure came down. Have you ever heard that saying, when it rains, it pours? When it's not one thing, it's the next. If you have comment, just say, yes, I've heard that before. You get over one hump, and then here comes something else. Or back home, we say, I'm just trying to keep my head above water. So you feel as if like you're just drowning, and you're just trying to keep up above the water. After dealing with that and the swelling and everything, my right leg starts to hurt. And it was more hurting like the calf area. Usually after having a baby, and you hear a woman say her calf muscle is hurting, the first thing you're thinking is blood clot. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm still taking these injections to prevent blood clots. This can't be the case. But I called the specialist who have me on the blood thinners, and he said, you know what, let's just do an ultrasound of your legs, and let's just rule out blood clot. I said to him, can we just check both legs? He says, not a problem. At this point, I'm walking funny because of the pain that's in my leg. And I go to the place to do the ultrasound. They did the ultrasound on my leg. I said to them, what are the protocols if you do find a blood clot? What are the protocols? And she said, you can't leave here if we find a blood clot. And I say, God, I laid right there on the bed, because fear began to take root. Always remember, if you are having faith, You cannot leave any open space for fear, which is very easy for it to creep in. So you have to fight your thoughts and your mind and things that will come up, because fear can be crippling and it can really mess up you having faith. So I laid there and on the bed, and my husband said, "Don't worry, man, everything's all right." And I said, "God, I'm not doubting you. I'm not doubting you. I'm just tired of all this stuff that I have to deal with." And the lady began to do the test, and I'm listening because you can hear the blood flow in your legs. And at one point, I heard nothing. And I said, "That's not good. I don't hear any blood flow." And I just tried to calm my nerve. I say, "God, please help me not to doubt. Help me to just keep having faith and believe. And please, God, help me, help me." This whole situation with my pregnancy has really tested my faith. And I had to just keep reminding myself of the faith that I have and where God has brought me from and where He's taken me. And for me not to doubt. And when I found myself doubting, I began to just repent and say, "God, please forgive me for doubting. I do remember my faith. I do remember, because you've proven yourself so many times to me. You have proven and proven yourself, Lord." And then the lady says, "Oh, that leg is good." I said, "Oh, thank you, God." She checked the other leg. She goes, "Ah, that leg is good too." And I said to myself, what is causing this pain in my leg? I walked out of the office limping because of the pain in the leg. Called my doctor and let him know there is no sign of any blood clots. It's fine. Okay. As time progressed, the pain moves. You know how gas pain moves in your stomach? You might just feel it in this area, that area, and it just moves, goes to your back, goes to your stomach, and you know it's gas. This pain moved from my calf to my thigh to my hip. My mom says to me, "What about nerve pain? That sounds like it's your nerves." And I'm like, "Nerves?" She said, "Yeah." So I started to soak my leg in Epsom salts. Those of you from the Caribbean, you know, with Epsom salts, and you soak, somewhere that's sore and your muscles and stuff like that, it helps. And the Epsom salt, soaking it in really hot water as much as you can bear it, it's very relaxing and it helps your muscles and stuff. And I would do that from time to time whenever I feel the pain really bad. So even to lay on my right side, the pain would be bad. And as a pain, like walking, when I would go and exercise and I'm walking, the pain would intensify. I said, "Lord, have mercy." When I went for my 6 weeks postpartum checkup at my gynecologist's office, they went ahead to just routinely do my vital signs, make sure there's no temperature, check my blood pressure. And the nurse says to me, "Your pressure is really high." I said, "Really?" Now, you know, blood pressure doesn't always come with signs and symptoms and headaches and dizziness. I felt none of that. And that's when I said, "How much is it?" She says 160 over 100. I said, "Can you recheck it?" She said, "Give it a few minutes and I'll recheck it." My doctor walks into the office and he goes, "Stacy." I said, "Yes." And he starts to talk all this stuff about stroke and all of that stuff. And he's ready to send me to the emergency room, which is right downstairs. And I'm like, "I can't, no, we're not doing this." I was like, no. And that's what I'm saying to myself. And the more he began to talk about, what these numbers can do and how it can cause me harm, I felt fear. I wasn't taking it good. I found myself stressing. And I'm trying to process everything. And water began to fill up in my eyes. because I'm not processing this well. You see, when you see most people, or let's say some individuals, they have baby, and what you see with your eyes is like everything is fine and jolly and loving and enjoying. And then you just have a few where it's like they have baby and they end right back up in the hospital and they have to have surgery and all these different complications and stuff like that. And I say, God, please, I need you to help me with this pressure. I've never had blood pressure issues before. I told the doctor, I said, a week or two right after having baby, I realized my pressure was up, but I began to work on it to bring it back down because I don't know what was causing it. Now, usually if you're in pain, the top number for your blood pressure will increase if you are in pain. But the numbers I was getting, those are dangerous numbers. You don't want your pressure to be that high. They checked it again. They came down to 144/94. That is still high, but not where it was before. He says to me, I need you to follow up with your primary care doctor. Now, I don't know why he just didn't take care of me then, because I'm your patient. He says, because you're not pregnant anymore, see your primary care. My primary care did not have any open appointments until weeks later. And my gynecologist is telling me you need to be seen this week. You cannot wait until next week. You need to be seen. Couple days, like 2 days, I went to urgent care. The numbers were still really high. So now I'm on medication. And they said to me, we need you to come back in 3 to 5 days so that we can monitor you and check your pressure. When I went back, the number, it was still up there, but not crazy high. And they said to me, we need you to follow up because we're not your primary care. We're just urgent care. So we need you to follow up with your primary care. And in the meantime, because of, these medication you're on, you cannot breastfeed. Because this was the thing. When they first gave me the medication, they asked you if you're breastfeeding. Yes, I am breastfeeding. So we think that this is safe, but we need you to call your son's pediatrician. I want to laugh because it sounds so good to say my son. Listen, after 4 miscarriages, my son. What a blessing. What a miracle. Okay, that was commercial break. I just had a moment. I called my son's pediatrician and I told her the medication that I'm on, and I wanted to know if it was safe to breastfeed him. She said it's not any study showing that it's safe at all. So it's FDA approved, but they don't have any studies showing if it's safe to breastfeed him. And she says you have to understand, blood pressure medication is bringing down your blood pressure and it can cause his heart rate to go down. I said, what? She said, yeah. And I said to her, I said, Doc, I don't know if you are aware of what I've been through, but this is pregnancy number 5. I'm not losing my son. I said, so therefore, I'm just going to stop breastfeeding because I cannot take any chance, because we're not sure with these medication, for me to put his life at risk. You see, from in the hospital, his heart rate was already dropping. And that's something that's common that happens when you are in labor. But now, because of a medication that I have to take, because I have to take care of myself so that I can take care of him, I'm not going to do that to him because I want to breastfeed. So I decided to just stop breastfeeding and just stay on my medication so I can get this blood pressure down, because it seems as if it's just a temporary thing. They call it postpartum hypertension. So it's just for a time. And as I go through each thing, each downfall, each hiccup, I say, God, I just need you to help me. Help me through each thing. prior to that, the swelling of my leg, it just went down on its own. It went completely down. No issues, no problems. The only thing, because now the blood pressure is doing so much better right now. The only thing currently that I'm dealing with is just my leg. And recently they sent me to do physiotherapy on my leg, so that you're gonna hear baby. They can try and figure out if, because the urgent care doctor said to me, this pain could be from the epidural you have. Most time we hear of pain in the back from an epidural. Stacy has no back pain. But remember, in Our Miracle Part 2, I told you that the anesthesiologist put the epidural needle more to the right, and when they inject, the medicine went mostly to the right. It goes down to the nerves. So the urgent care doctor feels that is the reason I'm having pain in my leg, not my back. So now physiotherapy is trying to figure out what is the cause of your problem. Is it the nerves? Is it vascular? And he said, we're hoping that it's not vascular. I don't know much about that part, but all I know is what God said to me. Everything is going to be all right. At the end of the day, everything that God has allowed me to go through, I look at it like it's all for His glory. It's to help someone and it's to help me. Because I can say I've been through this, I've been through that, and every situation God has brought me out. He has never left me. God has never left me, and He will never leave you. But you have to do your part. Put your trust in Him, and He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. So even going through, let's just call it these little aches and pains, God is still good, and He always will be good. So for those of you that are watching and still watching, no matter what you're going through, don't give up. I look at my son and I look up to God and I said, this is all for the glory of God. And it was all worth it. Every pain, oh Lord, every pain. Every little bad news, everything. I look at my son and I said it was all worth it. All worth it, because we have, me and my husband have our son. I just want to encourage somebody. You see my stories and all that I've been through, and I'm still standing because of the grace of God. Eventually, I have to go to do my MRI to check about the brain tumor. And I will keep you all posted. Because a lot of people have been following my stories just to see what's going on. So even though I've been talking a bunch of pregnancy stuff, individual will ask, how are you doing? How was the brain tumors? So I'll definitely keep you all posted when I do go back to check on that. But as of right now, everything is fine. Everything is fine. And all thanks and praise to God. I take no credit. Like I've always said, I take no credit. Everything is for the glory and grace of God. So until next time, stay blessed. Be encouraged. Don't be afraid to leave comments. I'll respond back. Be encouraged. Take one day at a time. And when you feel you can't take one day at a time, take one moment at a time. 1 minute at a time. Never give up. Giving up is not an option. Stay blessed. Take care. Until next time. Bye.